Welcome, folks. We are in chapter 34. This chapter actually will conclude a very important topic. That topic is called simcha, joy. How to make certain that we have joy in our lives, basically at all times, or most of the time at least. Without joy, we can't fight life's battles. We're going to be down for the count. So we have spoken in chapter 33 that there's a joy just by the awareness of God's unity, that there's no other reality but God, which means we're very close to God. God's not distant from us. There's a closeness, which is very powerful. Okay. Which is very powerful to know that. Well, and the fact that I think about it, I meditate upon the fact that in reality there is no other reality but God. By doing that, I am creating that unity with me, of me, in me. And that itself should bring joy. That awareness should bring joy. In chapter 34, where we are now, we go further. So that's the awareness about God, and God, that we're united and we're not distant from God. Chapter 34 now brings it about me. What is it? Let's explain. So the patriarchs, Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu, they were holy individuals. And holiness, in every aspect of their being, they exuded holiness. They were holy. At Mount Sinai, we experienced that too. But it was too great of a and difficult experience, so our soul took flight. And then Moses said, well, build a Mishkan, to build a home for God. That's where God's presence will be, right? That's where God's presence will be. When you build a home for God. Then after that, we have the Beis Hamikdash, 2 holy temples. And that's where God's presence was. Where's God's presence today, now that it's been destroyed? 2 holy temples are destroyed. So that our sages say that ever since the temple's been destroyed, that the 4 cubits of halacha, of Jewish law and Jewish teachings, is where God's presence is. In other words, well, the Torah is the abode to reveal God's unity. And therefore, when I think words of Torah, meditate upon words of Torah, right? Think about it. God himself, he's unknowable. But God gave us a vehicle that through his Torah, not only is he knowable, but we have access to him, we become a sanctuary for him. We become the sanctuary, right? Now, the prophet, the patriarchs, the prophets, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, they were a sanctuary for God in every aspect of their being. We're not going to be that because we're not such holy people. But when we study Torah, and we fix times to study Torah every day and by night, each person according to what they're capable of fixing time for study of Torah, right? And even it's 1 chapter in the day and 1 chapter at night, your heart should rejoice. Why? Why? Because you're hosting God. You're hosting the term is ushpizin legvura. You're a host to the Almighty through your Torah study. In other words, you become the sanctuary where God now dwells in you. Before we spoke about that God dwells in this holy sanctuaries of the holy temples. That's destroyed. Where does he dwell now? In me and you when we study Torah. When we set aside a time every day, and for many of us, we're here day in, day out, learning. And by the fact that we do that day in, day out, we're making ourselves the sanctuary for God's presence to be revealed through our study in this world. So it's now even a deeper point than previously that we understood. And previously we understood that when you think about the unity and the oneness of God, so you're entertaining that truth in your mind, that should create a joy. That creates a joy for you and a joy that you're entertaining that unity, and that creates a joy for God. But here you become the sanctuary of God through our study that we do in, day out. So for those that come, and today, for whatever reason, we can't access on whatchamacallit, but on Facebook and other programs, other platforms. But the message is for all of us to know that we become the sanctuary for God. That's a very short, brief thought, but a beautiful, important one. Any questions? All right. Thank you all for joining. God bless. Rambam coming up.